Hi, I'm Sigrid Tidmore with Community Stepping Stones, and we're proud to be here on Tampa Bay's Community Network.
Welcome to Culture Vultures. I'm Linda Saul-Sena, and I have as a guest today Sigrid Tidmore, the Executive Director of Community Stepping Stones. Welcome.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Well, as a longtime friend and a fabulous Executive Director, we are so eager to have you talk to us about Community Stepping Stones. So please begin. Tell us, what is Community Stepping Stones?
Well, Community Stepping Stones is a jewel of an organization that got its start in Sulphur Springs about 11 years ago now. And at first it was just an organization that served kids with art that they came together, they had nothing to do, and Ed Ross, who at the time was the person running Community Stepping Stones, one of the founders, would bring kids in and engage them in learning about their world through art. And it grew and it grew. And today, Community Stepping Stones is an organization that takes art to over 400 youth every month. 400 youth in after-school programs and in community centers all around the area. And these are all young people who are not getting art in school, but are learning about their world through special arts programming. We call it arts integrated programming because we teach them about science, about literacy, and critical thinking skills that are going to help them be successful adults, and all of that while they're having fun doing art projects.
Oh, that's just great. So your goal isn't to make them into professional artists.
Oh, absolutely not. In fact, I think that we could all do with a lot more fun in our lives.
I couldn't agree more.
And let's start with young people. And that is the beauty of learning through art, because art helps a young person, in fact, it helps any person, access the right side of their brain, which causes us to not get so hung up in time, not get so hung up in judgment, but rather receive the world as it comes to us and then learn to express it back. And in that non-judgmental space, you can take in all kinds of difficult information that you might not be normally able to. For instance, May I give you an example?
Yes,
I'd
please.
love to. I know that's why I'm here today. I want to just start right off with one of our newest programs. It's called the Comic Book Literacy Project. Now, in many of the places that we teach, they're very poor neighborhoods, and literacy is a huge issue. In fact, in 2 of the Title I schools that we teach after-school art classes in, the students are up to 62% failing because of literacy issues. So what we try to do is to come in and teach them higher reading skills while they're having fun. And what do kids like to read? Comic books. So we get together with comic book illustrators, comic book publishers, comic book writers, and they blend together with the English teachers in the school, and we teach young people how to tell stories in a sequential way.
Oh, that's great.
We teach them how to write dialogue. We teach them how to interpret body language. Now think about how important it is for a young person growing up with their social skills to learn how to interpret body language. But you can't draw cartoons if you don't understand body language. So it's another form of literacy. And together, over a 10-week period, we teach the young people how to write, how to pencil, how to ink in those drawings, how to color them, how to put them together in a book, and we take it to the printer and they publish their own comic books.
Oh, they must be so proud.
So proud. And it is making such a difference. In fact, Hillsborough County Public Schools is adopting this program in their summer schools. And it's wonderful because the program will also go into an ebook fashion. All these children's stories they write will become ebooks on their MyOn Reader.
That's completely amazing. I'd never thought about the different steps until you described it. I mean, I really never thought what it takes to put together a comic book. So even though we've sort of made fun of them as not like serious learning, it is.
Oh, it's absolutely. I mean, it is one of the most important skills young people have to acquire is to think sequentially. And you know, Linda, you've seen that yourself. You know, when we have had the gallery shows at Hillsborough Community College, where we've come and taken all these pieces of artwork that young people have put together, and they never see all the pieces together in one large exhibit until they walk in. And then they walk in and they say, oh my goodness, this is amazing. We didn't know we were working on something like this. It's because they had to live the sequence of making all the little pieces of anything to bring it together into one common communication. And that's really what art is.
Can you describe the Beasties project? That was particularly outstanding.
Oh, thank you. It was. Our purpose there was to teach science, and we were teaching about phytoplankton. It lives in the ocean, and it produces half the oxygen that we breathe. The children were very interested in it because they had read that since 1950, so much plastic had gotten in the ocean that it was killing the phytoplankton. Indeed, there's a 40% reduction in it. And they wanted to communicate
40%.
40%. This is a serious reduction.
Globally?
Globally. All those gyres and garbage patches in the ocean are breaking down and going in at the base of the food chain, which is what phytoplankton is. So the children, we took them out, we did water testing, went to UT, let them look at it through a microscope. Once they saw it, they drew what they saw, and then we collected plastic together and built those creatures that they saw. And we called them beasties because when the microscope was invented, they didn't have a word for microbes, so they called them beasties. So we were creating beautiful beasties, and our beasties that we created, some were this size and some were 15 feet high. They were all kinds of different creatures that we saw. We put them into an exhibition called Beautiful Beasties, and this is the one that you're thinking of,
right,
where all the pieces came together for a deep ocean experience. And they were so popular that we were asked by the Gasparilla Festival to put them on display last year. And most recently, the Lowry Park Zoo is acquiring them and making them part of a permanent exhibit in their manatee cave.
That is fantastic.
It is.
And they're made completely out of recycled materials.
Completely out of recycled materials that the children collected doing beach cleanups. So the lesson, the learning about their community, all of it through art. They learned about environment, they learned about community, they learned about communication.
Plus, they're beautiful pieces, and I think that there's a legitimacy in their being at HCC. How did you arrange that?
We have had a wonderful partnership both with HCC and USF for years, but every year in the summertime we always do an interesting show, and every year it's been about the environment and about artwork, and so we express things in different ways. This last year we took our teens on a Hillsborough River trip, and they went all the way down the river over 6 different weekends and took photographs, and those photographs were then taken into Photoshop, posterized, colorized, and they blew them up and made huge murals out of it. And in doing so, they were able to sell the murals, and we were able to invest back in the program In fact, one of our young men did such a beautiful job of a painting. It was the underneath of the Cass Street Bridge as he was coming through it. And he won the Emerging Artist Award this year from the Tampa Bay Lightning's art contest.
That is fantastic.
It was for young people who've never had opportunities like that before to find out how gifted they are. It is a joy.
Well, I'm so impressed with the variety of projects you take on and the way you link science and art so that it's both and rather than either or.
Well, that is that's an example of arts integration at its best. Right now, we are working with, again, the Hillsborough County Public School System. We had a retreat for teachers, and we invited scientists from the Tampa Bay Estuary Program, from NOAA, from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency.
What is NOAA?
Oh, I'm sorry. NOAA is the, what do they call it? It is the oceanic research arm of our government that does research on weather. So we had the weather, the environment, the environmental protection areas, and we did a workshop on how you learn about climate change, take it to young people, and teach them how to make art from it. So our big show this year is going to be youth speaking from all over the county about the Tampa Bay they want to inherit.
That's powerful. That is great.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It will be.
How do you underwrite this?
Wow. It's a mosaic. It truly is. We are blessed to have the support of the Children's Board of Hillsborough County and also the Arts Council. But beyond that, we have numerous foundations, numerous individuals that help us, and we also market and sell murals and paintings and other artwork. In fact, right now we have some of the most beautiful yard art that we are selling.
What is it?
They are butterflies. All of them are beautiful butterflies. And if you are around on April 11th and 12th at the USF Botanical Garden Show, their Spring Fest that they have, we will be out there selling huge butterflies that you can take home and beautify your yard with. Weatherproofed, beautiful butterflies.
That's great. And what are they made out of?
A variety of materials, but they're all guaranteed to put up with Florida's weather, and the color will stay on there. They are even graffiti protected, so you can get little ones, big ones, medium ones, and some that are as big as your arms open.
That's fabulous. How have these programs impacted the kids who attend them in terms of their educational opportunities?
Well, that is the best part. While we all admire the art, it's what it does for the young people. I'm going to just speak about one of our young people, Lakima, and I know you know her, we all love her. Lakima began with Community Stepping Stones 11 years ago now, and she was a student who was having a very hard time with schooling, and she learned a little bit about pottery and then a little bit about painting, and suddenly discovered that she had skills she didn't know. And for the first time in her life, she decided, I think I can actually try school. It helped her so much with school. She improved her grades. And then she ended up with a lot of coaxing and coaching. We talked her into going to HCC, and she was amazed how well she succeeded there. And then she went on to USF, and she's about to graduate from USF with a degree in studio art and graphic design, and she's going off to Paris. I mean, who would have believed it? She's going off to Paris for her senior trip. This is a young girl who was never out of the hood, and all of a sudden the world is open to her.
That is such a marvelously inspiring success story. And I know there are other young people, like the person who got the scholarship. I mean,
Yes.
That's just great.
It is. In fact, there is a gentleman that's coming this next week. We're hosting a lot of young Boy Scouts, And he's coming to make a testimonial of how he works for the Hillsborough County Planning Commission, of how he began with artwork and thought he would never have anything going on in his life, but learned about drawing and figured out that it was a skill that would help him with land planning and architectural rendering. And now he's got a wonderful job down there. So he's coming to talk to these young men to show them what art can do in their life.
Sigrid, this is great. This is great. We're going to take a break now, and then we'll be back and hear more about your life as an artist.
Thank you.
Change your life. Learn TV and internet video production skills at TBCN in Tampa. Become a skilled video producer quickly and inexpensively. Learn audio, editing, lighting, and camera basics. Produce multi-camera videos for TV, the internet, business, or pleasure.
Welcome to my live call-in show on Tampa Bay Community Network. You too can learn to produce and star in your own video programming, or you can have TBCN staff do it for you.
Call TBCN at 813-977-5200 today and change your life. Visit our website at tbcn.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn.
Welcome back to Culture Vultures. I'm here with Sigrid Tidmore. We've been talking about community stepping stones, but now I'd like to ask you about the art that you make as an artist.
Well, thank you. I am an environmental artist from a long way back. I do a lot of illustration for publications that deal with environmental affairs. I do a lot of illustrations for books. And most recently, I also do a lot of illustrations for children's books, which is something that I've really learned a lot about during the time that I've been at Community Stepping Stones.
Well, your work is so beautiful. What is the medium you usually use?
Well, I use different kinds of water media. I use certainly watercolors, watercolor pencils, and then acrylics as well. But all of my work is very characterized by very brilliant colors. But you know, every time you say, all my work is done a certain way, you have an opportunity in the art world to discover a new jewel that you didn't do before. So about 5 years ago, I started going to the Galapagos Islands on a regular basis. I have family that's living down in Ecuador, and I would go and spend 3 or 4 weeks every summer there working at doing illustrations. And I've found now that I'm doing a lot of work on black paper with brilliant colors, but black is the background. And the reason for that is that the Galapagos are all made from black lava. It's a very slow lava.
That is so interesting.
And when you get there, you would know exactly what I'm talking about, because the iguanas, many of them, the marine iguanas, are very black creatures, those big black iguanas. In fact, they were the ones that they used to use in the Japanese monster movies, you know, where they would tape things on their backs and all, because they are so ferocious looking. They're totally friendly animals because they're just vegetarian, but they look ferocious and they make wonderful subjects for illustration. So I started doing that, and I started getting involved in the Darwin Institute there. It's a conservancy for the animals that live in the Galapagos Island. And it really spoke to my heart, because this is an area of environmental preservation that is really best handled by the artistic presentation of how beautiful the world is there. I mean, we're used to National Geographic pictures and all. People don't do really well reading all the statistics about it. It's those illustrations and photographs that give us that great empathy with the unusual animals that live out there.
So if we wanted to see your work, where could we see it?
Well, I have a website, certainly. It's sigridtidmore.com, SIGRID. Tidmore, TIDMORE.com. So a lot of my work is featured on there, as is some of my book illustrations as well. I'm having a wonderful time right now doing a yoga book, which is just such a joy because it is not only about postures, but also about the spiritual and health aspects of yoga, but it's for children, and it's done through poetry. And the author I'm writing with, Julia Stewart, is just so imaginative, and it's such a pleasure to be creating this book. It'll be probably published by the end of this year, so I'm very excited about that.
Your journey has been so interesting because when I first got to know you, you were the owner of a marketing organization.
Right,
and
right.
I was in politics, and now you're a sought-after visual artist.
Well, that was why I was smiling when you said, "What's your medium?" And I thought, oh my goodness, I paint on so many canvases. Marketing is really a kind of a canvas that you paint on, as is community stepping stones. And in stepping stones, the canvas are the lives of the children. That's really what you're painting on.
And you, as an artist, have created some of the mural designs that the children have created.
I have, and it's a great joy to see young people realize that they can talk about their lives through their art.
So what next? What next, Sigrid Tidmore?
All right, all right. So I'm finally being sold. I'm going to move to Ecuador in May. I'm very excited about this, but we live in a world that is non-location dependent thanks to the internet. And so I feel like I'm going to have a lot more time doing illustrations and artwork. And actually, I'm really thinking about also doing some painting trips for my friends who all want to come down and see the Amazon and the Andes and Galapagos. So as you know, I've done a lot of these kinds of trips in the past. So I'm thinking about putting those together as well. But the big draw is my granddaughter.
Okay.
So I'll be living on the beach in Ecuador, painting and drawing, and coming back frequently to see Community Stepping Stones, which is my dear, dear nonprofit that I can't get enough of. So I won't be far from your heart.
I love the idea that you've gone on this personal journey, that you evolved as a director of a nonprofit, but your artwork is taking you to these exotic locations, and I love the idea that you'll teach down there also.
I really plan to, and I hope that you'll be down there to join us. But in the meantime, I want to urge all my friends that are here to please get out and support Community Stepping Stones, because it is making a difference where other things just can't touch these young people. And we have a wonderful event coming up in May, just before I leave, and it's called Cosplay for the Cause. And we will be raising money at a comic book dress-up event.
Oh. Everybody
Gets to dress up and be Wonder Woman and Superman. And it will be a comic book dress-up event on May the 8th that will be raising money to help with the comic book literacy program, which is kind of where we started, bringing it full circle around. This is a way that we can make a huge difference and get people, young people, really excited about their lives.
And physically, Community Stepping Stones is located in Sulphur Springs. And can you characterize that neighborhood? Some people watching might not know where it is or what it is.
Well, Sulphur Springs is probably one of the most economically challenged neighborhoods in all of Hillsborough County. But Community Stepping Stones is on a 3.5-acre park called Manwagnon Park that sits right on the Hillsborough River. We have some beautiful old fish camp homes there and have turned them into a beautiful Wi-Fi facility. So we invite all those people that are listening and interested in art to please come out and see us. We teach weekend classes. We have tours on Thursdays, and I would love to have more volunteers, and anyone here interested in art and helping kids, please call us, because we love to have volunteers.
And how could people find out about Community Stepping Stones?
Well, our website, and the easy part is it's Community Stepping Stones, plural.org.
I love that. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing that I find so interesting is that you, in your role as executive director of the organization, combined the artistic side of your skill set and the marketing side and community outreach side. And so the whole process of you being director has integrated the two. Moving forward, I see this happening also, and going down to Ecuador and making your art and organizing these tours.
Well, you know, I think an interesting idea to kind of leave everyone with today is that art, the word art, is an Indo-European word, ars, and it means taking all the pieces of the broken things that went before and recombining them in a new way. And that's what the word art means. And so if you see it as synthesis,
You're kidding.
synthesis of broken pieces all coming back together to create a new whole, that's what art is.
That is an extraordinary thought. In other cultural vulture shows, we've talked about how theater can accomplish this, how music can. And today you're talking about the visual arts and science.
Yes.
Combining to create this.
Well, you know, nature did that before us. I mean, think about it. All the broken pieces of lives and plants and animals before us, they go back into the earth and they combine to create new beautiful things. And so it is with us metaphysically, spiritually, and even artistically. We bring all these things back together again and enrich our lives.
That was just gorgeous. Thank you for that.
Well, thank you for having me here today.
And the color and the imagery you create is so rich. I recently read a word, and it was to describe people who, like New Yorkers, who only wear black, and it was somebody from another culture. I think it was Brazil, and they were saying people need to wear color. Color is life. Color is full of vibrancy, and your work has that energy, that vividness, and excitement. And
thank you.
So I very much have enjoyed you being here today, and thank you for sharing what you've done with Community Stepping Stones and your new evolution in Ecuador. That's a very exciting future.
Well, thank you, Linda, and thank you for all that you do for art in this community and what this show, Culture Vultures, has meant to this community over the years. This is one of the best art presentations there is anywhere in any of our media. Thank you.
Thank you so much for bringing in the clip about the Comic Book Literacy Project. Now parents can see what their kids learn in putting together a work. And thank you all for tuning in to Culture Vultures. See you next time.